on State Senator Mike Walsworth. And I just want you to know he's been a member a lot longer than most of us.
Associate member.
Associate member. That means they can't vote, we just take their money. But anyway, there's a wonderful article in here. Thank you, Nikki. I don't need to tell you a lot about Mike, except I do want to say that he is always there for us, always, along with all of our representatives now. Jay happens to be the only one that's with us today. Jay, thank you. We know you have a busy schedule, and we really appreciate you being here with us. Now, let me just share this with you. We've got the Vote Today signs. For you new members, or those of you that didn't pick up your sign, any of you don't have the Vote Today sign? All right, vote today. If you don't have your Vote Today sign, you pick it up. You pick it up today. Republican women put the Vote Today sign out on Election Day. So this time it will go out on October the 5th through the 12th. You will bring it back in and you will put it out on the 19th. It only says Vote Today. That's as good as 5 phone calls on your street, people. It is a wonderful way for us to be visible. And I want to remind you that it was Senator Mike Walsworth and Sheriff Jay Russell who paid for those signs for us. We were going to pay for them, and they stepped up and said that was a wonderful thing to remind people to vote. So with no further ado, our speaker today, Senator Mike Walsworth.
Thank you, Kay, and I'll just go ahead and give you my Republican women story, and it is a true story. It is when we were going, and you have those, and I'm sorry, Dad, sometimes I have weak moments, but probably the weakest moment was that I decided I was going to chaperone about 10, probably almost 10 women, wasn't it, altogether? 10 women from Washington Parish who was going to the national convention in Houston.
I think the story gets better every time it tells it.
We leave at around 8 o'clock in the morning out of Monroe. We're in a caravan. I think there was 4 vehicles altogether. As we're leaving out, we all of a sudden stop. We get off the interstate at Calhoun. And I'm thinking somebody, has left something. No, we had to go to the bathroom. Now, I had, as a good Coca-Cola man back in those days, I had made sure everybody had some ice down Cokes. We had ice chests and everyone else. Well, from there we went into Ruston. Of course, we had to stop in Ruston at the McDonald's because McDonald's has the best coffee and the best bathroom. Going into Minden, we stop in Minden. We stop in Bossier and we stop in Shreveport for lunch. I'm going, ladies, this is not a 2-day trip to Houston. We rolled in there at about 8 o'clock at night. Now, 12 hours. If some of you have gone to Houston, it doesn't usually take 12 hours to go to Houston. At Shreveport, I took all the ice chests out. I said, we're not going to do this anymore. But anyway, I really had a great time. I think we all had a great time. I think the only thing I can say negative about Houston was I think we had gone to the big malls. And we had some Houston people that really gave us a hard time. You Republicans are here, and we just said the only reason why we're here is because the President of the United States wanted us to be here. Your President. So I thought it was sort of just, it's one of those things that you get that locals don't really like for you to be there from time to time. Jay and I get that in Baton Rouge from time to time. Baton Rouge people don't like us because we all of a sudden make a little traffic jams and stuff like that. Look, I will not speak as quickly as Bobby Jindal, but I'm going to try to do a whole lot of stuff real quickly. I'm not sure anybody can do that. But I want to sort of tell you where we've been over these last 6 years, where we're at right now, and maybe where we're headed. So I will tell you, we've had, if we ended today, if this governor ended today, he will probably go down as the most reform-minded governor in actions as well as speech that we've ever had in this state. When we walked in, we had more employees per capita in this state than any other state in the union. By the time we leave out of there, or he leaves out of here, and some of us continue to be there, we will probably be close to at least, right now we're at the Edwin Edwards number, and we will probably get close to the John McKitton numbers. We've had that many layoffs and revisions and moving people from the public sector to the private sector as we're doing with the hospitals, but we're going to have that fewer state employees, and that's probably something we had to do. We had to contract the problems that we had in this state, and probably most of those problems wound up being on the fiscal side. So we had to contract those. But we do that, and just like business does. Here's how much money you got coming in. Here's how much money you got to go out. And in this state, you have to have a balanced budget. So, right off the bat, we did ethics reform, and came from last to supposedly first in ethics reform. And I think you can say that at least in most characteristics, we've really have. I think it started with the Blanco administration, has gone into the it started really with the Foster administration, then the Blanco administration, and then the general administration to really clean up the problems that we had, not necessarily inside the state, but what the problems perception was outside the state. That the old saying was by Billy Tozan, half of our state's underwater, half of our state's under indictment. And you know, we laugh about that, but that was the perception out there. So whether you like it or not, you know, we even had a governor of this state that was on the short list for vice president. I don't think we've ever had that. Nobody wanted a politician from this state. So whether you like him or not, I mean, at least we've sort of cleaned up our image a lot. Right off the bat, we had, up in this area, we had some horrible things such as IP up in Bastrop, Foster Farms what wound up being Foster Farms up in Farmville. Had a lot of, and I'm not sure you've heard, over the last couple of weeks, some people out of the Blanco administration has complained that the state has spent $300 million that we had set aside that they left for economic development. Now let me just tell you, let's be honest. Do we really want to just keep that money in the bank and not do anything with it? We spent every dime of that. And if we had more money to spend on economic development, I think we would wind up spending that money. That's what it's there for, is to spend those dollars. And Foster Farms, to get them here, we spent $50 million. Now that's a lot of money. But this year, Foster Farms will buy, just in feed alone, $58 million in Northeast Louisiana just for feed alone. That's how big this was. The infrastructure of chicken houses, and we can laugh about chicken houses, but just the infrastructure costs more than the Superdome, and are worth more than the Superdome is in New Orleans. That's how much infrastructure we had. And to let that collapse would have been devastating to North Louisiana. Not just in those areas, but banking and all the other things that have just had a huge domino effect. Wound up getting that. We have now more employees at Foster Farm than we did at Pilgrim when they left. Those are the positives. We also went over to Dunn, Louisiana, and wound up having the first sweet potato processing plant in the country in Dunn, Louisiana. Great jobs, and they're looking at an expansion over there. Over and over and over. In North Louisiana, those dollars were being spent. Probably one of those things that we can honestly say North Louisiana was always left out when they came to economic development. Always ran out of money, and that has not been the case in this administration. So those are the kind of things we do. Now, today, we still have problems with the economy. It just will not kickstart, just like the national economy is. We sort of are in the same boat as the national economy. Just will not kickstart itself off. Still sluggish. We just saw the new numbers. Less people, most people just what? Instead of being unemployed, they just give up, send them out. Unemployment in the last 5 years has gone down 0.5%. In 5 years, 0.5%. So we're just continuing to struggle with this economy. Now, I think we've got some things on the horizon, especially in Louisiana. Biggest thing is CenturyLink. Good gracious. Could have gone anywhere. Could have gone anywhere. And they stayed here. The only reason why they stay here is because what? They from Union Parish. Blackie Post, as he's called up there, is from Union Parish, and that's the reason why they're still here. But we've got to make sure that we, as a community, embrace them and do the right things. And some of the right things is to make sure that we behave ourselves in a correct fashion, and where that it doesn't go off into the news media and everywhere else and have those bad publicity, because those people in Denver are looking at us and saying, well, look what's going on in Monroe. Y'all probably need to come on up here, because their infrastructure is big here. It's twice as big in Denver. Twice as big in Denver. They want 800 new employees. This will be the brightest and best in the world that will be coming to Monroe to have technology, this technology that they want to do at CenturyLink. The best and the brightest in the world are coming here. And I think our assessor would like it when those people buy those houses, build those houses, and have those kind of things happen. So CenturyLink by far is the best thing we got. We still have a paper mill over in West Monroe, and that still continues to grow. And we have all the, I don't know if you know about Drax, that's up in Jay and I's district, up in Morehouse Parish. That'll be a $130 million facility that will wind up bringing, probably taking us about 2/3 of the amount of timber and lumber and trees, pulp, that were being taken by IP. So we're almost replacing what we did with IP with this group called Drax. Let me just tell you what's happening in making this timber industry so important in Louisiana. Europe, we do have one person from across the pond. I've never had anybody come across the pond just to hear me speak, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But what Europe has done is that they have put some huge requirements on their electrical facilities, and 1/4 of everything they do has to be from renewable. That fits trees. Trees is renewable. So they come to Louisiana, they come into Arkansas, they come into the South to do what? To cut our trees and to ship them back over to, and to make them into a pellet type form, and then ship those back to Europe to fit into this 25%. So you've seen a group out of Urania, that's steel. All of this group is from Europe that has now come up with this 25%, and they need that. So the South will continue to be in a really good place when it comes to timber and that natural resource that we have up there in our neck of the woods. Statewide, here's our problem. We still have healthcare problems. We're still trying to figure out, hopefully, that this private partnership, public-private partnership will work. We didn't have a choice. We knew for 50 years that this has been a problem, and this governor and this legislature is finally going to do something.